There is nothing worse spending an hour with a prospect, only get to the end of the call and they tell you
I have to think about it.
I need to run this by my spouse.
It's too expensive.
whatever the objection is. Today I'm going to share with you 10 ways to overcome and prevent these objections from happening in the first place. Please understand that if you're a health professional, you have to adopt the mindset of whatever you think about sales, this is not about sales. This is about how do I become a more influential communicator so I can help people do what's best for them. Because if I can't do this, then they suffer. Because if you get all the leads in the world, or you get people on Zoom or on the phone with you and you can't enroll them, it's all for naught. So number one is you have to become the buyer, not the seller. So we have a principle in our kind of sales training called unselling. And unselling is essentially pushing people away, not from ego narcissism, but just gently pushing people away where you're like, they don't feel like you're selling them anything. And the more people realize you don't need them, the more they want you. So the goal is to understand that you are the expert. They have the problem. So you are the expert in the solution. They're the expert in the problem. In no world should you ever have to dance for them and give discounts and bend over backwards, because them working with you like leaves a little bit of a positive dent in your revenue. It's very insignificant, but you working with them changes their life. Now, please understand that in a coaching relationship, the client has to do the work. They have to change certain things. They have to move differently, they have to eat differently, they have to think differently, etc. And therefore, you need them to sell you on why they can succeed. So instead of saying like, oh my God, you'd be so amazing. I know, like you'd be an amazing client. You totally do this. Cool. Like you can maybe believe that, but you have to get them to say that. So listen, I've worked with a lot of people. I'd love to know from you why you believe you could be my next success story. Ask them the question, let them tell you. And if you sense any doubt or hesitation in their own self-belief and confidence, you got to bring it up. Like, hey man, like, thank you. I'm sensing a little bit of hesitation. What's coming up for you? Well, like I've just failed in the past and nothing's really worked out. Hey, I totally get that. And that's why we're having this conversation. But please, I need you to understand that the only reason I'm in business is because of my clients' results. So my reputation is very important to me. If I were to invite you into working with us, I need to know from you that you have what it takes to do the work, keep going when the going gets tough, because if you don't, we're not working together. When you have that conversation with a prospect, it's a very different conversation. You're not selling them anything. They're selling you, and you are the one who is selectively choosing the right clients, so you enroll the right people who are more likely to win. Cool? Number two is provide pre-call content. When people are booking a call with you, they have to consume some of your stuff ahead of time. If someone doesn't know who you are and they jump on a phone call with you and they have no context around your philosophy or how you help people, you're gonna waste a lot of time. And then you're having to sell them not only on your program, but the methodology upon which the program is built. However you do what you do, you're gonna wanna give that prospect a good understanding of here's how we do things differently here, right? You have this problem and all these other people or all these other solutions do it this way. And this is why they don't work. Our approach is different. And on our upcoming call, we're gonna talk about this, but I wanna give you a bit of a foundation so you understand so that we can actually have an apples to apples conversation. So any pre-call content is gonna be very important. Now, third, kind of ties in with that, which is to provide an overwhelming amount of social proof. You want to provide people with so much social proof that they don't even want to keep scrolling and looking through it because they're like, fuck, okay, I get it. I get it. Like you've been at this for so long, you've helped thousands of people. I get it. Please understand as well, if you don't have that amount of social proof, well, you better buckle up and build your selling skills because you need to make up in conviction what you lack in proof. Especially when you're dealing with cold audiences, cold prospects who don't already know, like, and trust you. They're getting on a call with you and they're like, so I'm talking with 3 other people, how are you different? Like you're fucked if that's the conversation. So you have to be so good and convicted in what you do that you're willing to lean in and not sell them, but unsell them. And then you have to have the conviction to be like, listen, like if you don't work with me, that will be the dumbest decision you ever make. Like you don't have to say that, but you have to believe that. So please understand what you lack in social proof, you have to make up conviction. Over time, you just keep feeding the social proof into the pre-call marketing. Everything you do in your marketing, if it's all about proof and results, man, everything else becomes a whole lot easier, okay? Now, fourth is to send that particular individual a very custom tailored case study. You're working with a single target market. So essentially all of your case studies and testimonials will be from the same type of demographic. However, if there are nuances, so let's say that you're helping women with Hashimoto's and you happen to know that this person who just put to call with you is a busy mom because they said that in their application. Well, find a testimonial of a client of yours who is also a busy mom and send it to that person. But if you don't have that, that's okay. Like at the minimum, you have to do your darndest to get a lot of social proof, because we live in a day and age where skepticism's at an all-time high, trust is at an all-time low, people have a million options, and they need to know that working with you is gonna be the best option. Number 5 is to compile and show quantitative results. If you're a health professional helping people overcome fatigue, as an example, there's 2 ways of looking at this. You either help somebody qualitatively or quantitatively. So if you specialize in weight loss, well, as the simple starting point, you have to know where people start and where they end. And then you can aggregate that to say, like, on average, our clients lose 31.2 pounds in 9 weeks. Now, if you don't do something quantitative like that, let's say it's, fixing fatigue, how do you quantitatively show that? Here's what you do. Scale of 1 to 10. You create your own measurement system. Simply creating your own measurement scale. So you create your own quantitative way of measuring client results. It's very, very effective, and it's very simple to do. So if you can start to quantify your client results, it allows you to share it in your marketing. It makes your sales conversations way more compelling, because it's like, dude, I'm not selling you anything. I'm just saying, on average, this is what we're seeing. So like, do you want, you're looking for a guarantee? Well, you're not going to get that, because you have to do the work. I can't live inside your body, but I can help reduce the risk by showing you this proof with all of these different data points over hundreds upon hundreds of clients. So if it can work for them, what makes you think that it wouldn't work for you? Number 6 is we want to lower sales resistance early on. So when you're having an enrollment call with a prospective client, you start the call, you set the agenda. You have to take leadership early on, but you're not going to start the call by saying, so here's how this is going to go. I'm going to walk you through a few things. I'm going to make you an offer, and then I need you to make a decision at the end of this call. Is that fair? That's putting a huge amount of pressure, and sales pressure specifically, on the prospect. Instead, you want to be very clear. Say, hey, listen, I'm going to ask you a few questions to get a better sense of where you're at, what's going on with your insert problem, how you want things to look a little bit differently, and then look at some of the obstacles or challenges that have been holding you back. And once we've done all that, if you'd like to hear about how I might be able to help you, move a lot faster, then we can talk about that. Would that be okay? If the person starts off the call and says, let's just cut to the chase, how much is it? Well, I mean, yeah, great question. I'm sure you want to get to the brass taxes. I don't even know what we're talking about though. So is it okay if I get a better sense of where you're at, so I can even see if this is going to be a good fit for you? Because I don't know if I can help you. So if I don't know if I can help you or if you qualify, I really can't give you a price. Is that fair? So you want to reduce the sales pressure early on. We have to get their guard down. They don't trust you. They don't trust you yet. Okay. They're going to give you some people very short responses. They're super closed, and you have to get them to open up. And that's not going to happen if you're like, I need a yes or no by the end of this call. Okay. That type of stuff is just not going to work. So reduce the sales pressure early on in the conversation. Number 7 is deepen your discovery. This is one of the biggest problems I see when I'm reviewing calls. A lot of health professionals, or even just coaches in general, like they go through a series of questions like it's an intake form. So like, when you go to a clinic and you get that board, the checklist thingamajig, and they're like, where's the pain? And you're filling out this fucking 5-page intake form. You're like, what am I doing here? It's a waste of time. Yeah, it's here, 10 years, like the pain is here, I'm not on any medications. That's what a lot of these calls sound like. It's very, very superficial, fact-finding questions. I don't care what you're selling. People buy based on emotion, period. They justify it with logic down the road. So in your conversation around discovery, you have to understand the basic framework is this. Where are you now? Where do you want to go? What are the challenges in the way? That's it, okay? You have to stretch the gap, and in each of those areas, you deepen. You have to go from surface level into levels 1, 2, and 3. So as an example, tell me, why are we talking now? What's going on with your, let's say, migraine headaches that prompted you to book this call with me today and not a year ago or 6 months down the road? And they're going to tell you da. What amateurs do is they're like, cool, thanks for sharing that. On to the next question. What pros do is they actively listen. So let's say that someone's giving you a few minutes of intel of why they're talking today. Well, let me give you the backstory. And you're like, okay, fuck, this is going to be a long monologue. By the way, early in the setting agenda, just ask for permission. Is it okay just to keep on time if I would politely interrupt you if I notice we get off track? Is that okay with you? They'll say for sure. So when they start going off into their story, which by the way is completely irrelevant in most cases, here's how you cut them off politely. So let's say you're asking the question, why are we talking today? Which essentially comes back to the main problem they're here to solve. And they start going off on all sorts of tangents. You got to actively listen to what they're saying. And let's say they say, well, like I've done a lot of stuff and I did this one thing before and it didn't really work. Hold on. Can we double click on that? When you say you did this other thing that didn't work, what specifically did you do there? See what I did? I just politely interrupted and I'm using a clarifying question to show that I'm actually listening and giving it, like I actually give a shit. I want to know exactly what it is you did. And they'll say, well, I did some, I don't know, whatever, some random medication and, it didn't really work. When you say it didn't work, I mean, what were there like side effects or symptoms, or can you just talk me through that a little bit? Again, I'm peeling back the onion to get more data, to get more clarity. Okay, so that's level one. I call these the 3 levels of conversational questions. Level 1 is a problem question. It's a fact-finding question. Why are we talking today? What's the problem you want my help solving? They're going to give you an answer. And if they don't give you a clear answer, you ask a clarifying question. Then we go into an impact question. And this is where most people miss the ball. So I did this, these medications and they had all these side effects and that. Okay, so again, amateurs will be like, thanks for sharing that. And they go right back up to the next fact-finding question. Pros will be like, man, that's got to be tough. And that's it. And then just sit in the silence and let the prospect talk. So this is why you have to get very, very good at this in discovery. All of the issues that happen down the road in the call happen at the start. It's just you're not listening to what people are saying. So you have to deepen your discovery. And when I say deepen it, I don't mean keep asking more fact-finding questions. I mean, ask the select few and go deep into the emotion. And that leads me into number 8, which is ask questions that challenge commitments. When we talk about commitment, the client has to do the work. Like you can't push a button on their forehead and they have no more migraines. They have to do different things. So a question you can ask at any point in the discovery is, okay, all right, so you're here, you want to be there, you've done all this other stuff. What do you feel you need to change in order to get these types of results? And they're going to say, well, I'm not sure. That's why I'm here. Or maybe they'll give you an answer. And then you can just honestly give them honest feedback to be like, hey, can I be real with you for a second? They're like, sure. The reality is you're currently having, 3 to 4 migraines a week. You want to have no migraines so you can live this amazing, beautiful life. And a lot of people talk about what they want, but their actions do not align with those goals. So I just want to be very honest with you that this is not going to be overly hard. It's just going to require you to make a decision and then be consistent in terms of how you show up and follow a proven plan. If they're asking questions like, how much time is this going to take me? No. Wrong question. That's loser talk. You're toast. Because if they think it's too much work, fuck off. No pain, no change. If people think that their current situation is okay, they're not going to do anything about it. Remember the saying, when it's a must, we find a way. When it's not, we find an excuse. You're either buying someone's story or they're buying your solution. That's it. I don't sell anyone anything. I'm constantly pushing people away because I don't fundamentally believe they have what it takes to win unless they tell me. Number 9 is to bring up and neutralize objections early on. So very similar to challenging commitment. We don't want to do this stuff after you drop the price because you're just going to be wasting your time, okay? Because now price is in the conversation. Now we're not talking about the real thing. People have to be sold on your process before the price. What are the objections you're going to get at the end of the call? I need to talk to my spouse. Bullshit. I need to think about it. Bullshit. I need to meditate on it. Bullshit. Those are all stalls, okay? So you have to neutralize all of this stuff, right? So let's say we're talking about back pain as an example. Obviously, what are the alternatives? Go to your chiro, go to your local physio, go to a gym, whatever. In the discovery, hey, just playing devil's advocate for a second, why don't you just try to go to a local chiropractor or physio or gym or Pilates studio to solve this? Let them tell you why none of that stuff makes sense. And then you can move into, okay, well, what was it about me that made you feel that I might be able to help you? So now they start selling you on you in your process. So try to bring all of the objections early on in the conversation so you neutralize them. So at the end of the call, You just get down to what's really going on. And they're like, I want to think about it. And then you know it's all bullshit. Cool, awesome. I totally understand you want to think about it. It's an important decision. When people tell me they want to think about it, what I usually hear is that it comes down to one of two things. One is they don't actually believe this can help them, which I don't think is your case. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be speaking at this point of the call, which leads me to believe it's the second thing, which has something to do with the investment. So which is it for you? Is it the price, the investment, or is it the payment options? Boom. I just get into I kill everything else because there's no, it's the price. I just don't know if this is going to work. Cool. That should have been dealt with before you even get to price. So you have to be you can see why there's so many nuances, layers to this. Number 10, in terms of getting rid of these objections, is always, 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 when you get to price, tie it back into value. Talk about the results, not about the payment details. Okay, so the program is $4,000 to solve this once and for all. And they're like, oh, that's a lot of money. Okay, so you want to have that conversation? Fair enough. We can go a lot of ways. Hey, that's totally fair. I understand why you might feel that way. When you say it's a lot of money, that's compared to what? Well, compared to stuff I haven't, I did before that didn't work. Yeah, the stuff that you said earlier that didn't work. And again, can you just remind me of why that stuff didn't work? Awesome. And were those things priced more expensively or less expensively than this? Less. Okay, cool. So is it fair to say that you always get in life, you always get what you pay for? Yes. Why do you think, Mr. Prospect, this is priced the way it is? Well, because of that. Yeah, exactly. And do you think that you might show up at a higher level if this is a bigger investment for you? Yes. And what do you think that'll do for your results? You'll get better results or worse results? Better results. So what I'm hearing is that if money is a concern for you, then you will save more money by doing it right once as opposed to doing it wrong twice. So which would you rather do? Waste more time and energy and money on things that are not working for you, or solving this once and for all today and save money? Again, this or that. I want this. Great. Well, which payment option works best for you? Close the deal. Okay? We don't need to keep dancing around in these circles, right? You have to get good at this, guys. I'm sharing this stuff because I didn't know how to do any of this stuff. I was a noob when I used to do sales. I used to hate it. And I got myself into situations where I didn't know how to handle them. And then I was so pissed off that I said to myself, I will never, ever, ever let this happen again. And I became obsessed with how to handle every possible nuanced situation. Most people know what they want, but they're too afraid to move into it. So if you can get good at persuading people to do what's in their best interest, there's nothing else that's more valuable with your time. So hopefully these 10 strategies to handle objections before they even arise has been helpful for you. I'd love to know below in the comments which one of these do you feel you can put into action on your next call. Thanks for hanging out. Remember to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. If you've enjoyed this video and you're a health expert or coach who's serious about starting or scaling your online health coaching business, and you want to see exactly how we do that with our clients, the next video will walk you through our $1 million health coaching roadmap. It'll show you the whole Healthpreneur operating system, the business model that we help install and run in our clients' businesses. So if that's of interest to you, click on the link or the video somewhere around here, check it out today. And at the minimum, subscribe to the channel. I've got hundreds of other videos coming your way to grow your mindset, grow your business, and live a much better quality of life in the process.